How do you handle crisis? How do you manifest through it? How do you shift your mindset? What the heck? When everything's falling apart, everything feels like it's going wrong. Like, what are you supposed to do? Can you do anything? Can you change what's happening? What's up with this? Hey guys, my name's Alex. This is what I'm going to talk about in today's video using a very personal example of something that is currently happening to me. So I'm going to jump right into it. Now, if you want a little bit of backstory about just my life's journey over the past couple of years, it's on my Patreon, which is like $3 a month, and the link is down below. Just putting that out there, but I'm going to go over things in a way that have a basic understanding. But if you want to deep dive into my life and like see how so many elements line up, then there's that. So what happened was a week ago, I was rear-ended, and my car that I cherished and valued, its fate is up in the air. And it was like a huge mental break for me. And I don't mean that like I had like a psychotic break or anything like that. I just mean it was like a huge like mental explosion of so much going on. So a little bit of backstory. This car specifically, I bought it a couple of years ago when every area of my life was in a free fall. I was losing everything because I was unhappy with so many aspects of my life, and I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know how to change it. So I had a huge tower moment at the end of 2020 into the first half of 2021, and it was very uncomfortable, very painful. And this car, I've talked about it in other videos. The only reason I had never bought this car was just because I thought that I couldn't afford it. And instead what I did was went out and bought a more expensive car just because it was a different brand, not realizing that that car was actually more expensive than the luxury older model that I wanted this whole time. So it was like I finally got my dream car. I can't believe that I was the reason I haven't had this car for years now. But it was kind of my, like, if I'm going to lose everything, then I'm going to lose it in this car and live in it if it comes to that. Like, it was a huge leap of faith moment, like an F it moment in my life where I was like, I have to have faith and abundance, and I was terrified, and I took this leap of faith, and like the things didn't just smooth out for me. It's been a huge process over the past couple of years, but I've always been supported along the way. It's just like trying to realize that you're supported. I always think of that scene from The Incredibles when they fall out of the plane, and is his name Dash, the son, where he's like, we're dead, like we're alive, but I swear we're dead. He's just like losing it, right? Like that's how it felt, right? Like everything's fine, but I didn't feel fine. Felt like I was losing everything. So this car has had huge significance for me because this was my I took a leap of faith that I can manifest in abundance, and I can have this car because I want it. That like I was shedding these old ways of thinking of like, oh well, you know, like you need to budget in this certain way and you can't have these nice cars unless your budget's here. I was like, no, I can have whatever I want in my experience because I create my reality. And I was just starting to kind of understand that. I really didn't have anywhere near the understanding I have today back then at all. But I took this leap of faith. So the car is very significant. Now, about a year ago, maybe, or towards the end of that year, I had someone tell me that I was crazy for buying it because that car was a ticking time bomb, I think is what he said, because of like impending engine issues that were going to have to be like major repairs. And I remember just like at that moment being like, I'm not going to buy into this fear. The universe is going to take care of me. Just whatever it is. And also I love this car, and I'm not just going to like let it go because somebody else said that I might. Like I know that I have intuition, and I've always kind of known right before I needed to trade a car in that I should do so. So now flash forward 2 years. Recently, in the recent like month and even week leading up to this car accident, I just made several wishes to the universe. One was just for a new coat of paint, because there's like hella dings and chips missing out of my car. I've been hit by so many rocks lately. It's great. Sorry, I'm yelling. It's upsetting. Like all of a sudden out of nowhere, there's been like 8 like paint chips on my car, like very noticeably. And I was just like, because I've had it where I had my windshield had to be replaced, and long story short, I ended up making money off of the insurance claim for it. So I know that these things can just kind of happen, and that I don't need to understand how they happen, but if I set the intention for the universe, it's just going to be taken out of my hands. So I set the intention that I would love a fresh coat of paint for my car. But then I also said, if there's any upcoming repairs, I would also like that to just be taken out of my hands. And now you might hear everything that I'm praying for and be like, well, Alex, of course a car accident was the most likely like delivery method for that. I promise you, when I prayed for these things, I did not think that a car accident was going to be how it happened. I don't know why, but I did not. I just thought it was going to be some like random, I don't know what I thought. I don't know. Like maybe someone hits me in a parking lot like when I was like not in it, or I don't know. I wasn't thinking that this would happen. So, because the other thing I prayed for was that if this car is about to be more trouble than it's worth, and it's just not the best thing for me anymore, and it's not going to be the most ease I could have in a car owning experience, have it be delivered from me. I also have been praying for massage therapy. And now I have like probably still waiting to see a doctor, but most likely mild. I don't know if I should say mild or not, because I have no context for this. Something's going on with my spine. Whiplash things are happening with my spine. Not diagnosed yet, but yeah, I'm seeing how all the things I've been asking for came together in this moment where both parties involved are relatively fine. Very minor things are happening. Both of our cars are not so good. But anyway, moving on to, I asked for these things. This event has happened. And what I talk about in one of the other videos that either came out this week or comes out this week, I'm not sure which order I'm going to do them in. At first I felt like, oh my gosh, if they total my car, because at first I was like, ooh, I'm going to get like, a new paint job and maybe some repairs. And then some of my friends like looked at the pictures and they're like, your car might be totaled. And I was like, oh my God, I did say, like, if that was the best thing for me, then to please do that. But what caused me so much stress and like mental duress was I had this belief that if my car was totaled, I was going to be worse off than I started. That somehow I would really struggle with buying an appropriate, safe, and enjoyable new used vehicle. But I had this huge fear that I was going to end up worse than I started. Like, how could things possibly get better? Awful mindset to have, right? Awful mindset. One of my friends even called me out on it, and she's like, I just listened to you talk about manifestation. She's like still trying to understand it and like get into it, but she's like, this mindset is not where it's at. And she said, that's not very cash money of you. I was like, that's my new catchphrase. Every time I catch myself thinking negatively, I tell myself that. I'm like, Alex, that's not very cash money of you. But she was right. That was not the mindset to have. And Florence Scovel Shinn, whose book I have right here, she talks a lot in this book about the fact that there is no such thing as loss when it comes to what is yours by divine right. And my understanding of that is that divine right is what is divinely aligned with your energy and your belief system, your subconscious mind. So, it's our conscious mind that's going to analyze how we are and who we are and like what we think we deserve. So it's kind of difficult, but from my conscious understanding of myself, I don't see why I would lose anything. I have done nothing but improve on myself drastically since buying this car, but so much in just since the start of the year. So much in just these past 5 months, 6 months almost. so much. So it doesn't make sense that I would be downgraded by the universe. It doesn't make sense that my reality would downgrade. It doesn't make sense because my beliefs don't line up with that. My beliefs were, if this no longer serves, take it from my hands, which means that something better would come in. Of course, I consciously thought it meant that it would be the same exact vehicle with just some repairs done or a fresh coat of paint. But like, that's my conscious mind, you know? And it's just, it's like so crazy to me that I really thought that way. But no, my energy is my energy. And just because something has been removed from my reality, whether it's temporarily or permanently, there is no loss of my energy, of what is mine in this experience. And so something else will have to take its place. And this is true not just for cars. This is my example right now. But living spaces, relationships, jobs, careers, anything like that. What is divinely yours because it is aligned with your energy field, you can't lose it. You can't truly lose it. Yeah, okay, maybe it goes away for a little while, or maybe it's a little delayed. That's your conscious perspective of that. But if it's aligned to you, it's aligned to you. So if anything, by that logic, I'll be receiving something better from this experience. And as I say that, my rental car is a brand new 2021 luxury SUV that is very sporty and fun to drive. And even with this, I was like, oh, like I really got to enjoy this. I didn't at first though. I was pouting when I got it. Like the man's like showing me, all the features, and like we're checking it out at the rental car place. And I'm like, but it's not my car. And it's like objectively a way better car. And I'm actually enjoying the experience of this vehicle more than my old car. But at first I was very resistant to it. Very resistant to it. I didn't want to enjoy this because I felt like it was too good to be true, and I just wanted to go back to my old ways. I can be very fixed. It can be hard for me to be malleable to change. Change is always very uncomfortable for me. I don't know if you've noticed that about me on this channel, but I very quickly shifted my mindset when my friend was like, that's not very cash money of you. And I was like, you're right. And so within like a day and a half, I was in a much better mindset about everything with this rental car. Then my other fear was like, oh, I really have to like take advantage of this while I have it, because whatever I get after this isn't going to be as much fun. Why? Why not? Why can't it? Why can't it be? Then my thought was even, well, like, okay, I could end up buying this car, just an older model, but it's not going to like still be as fun, or, like I won't have as nice of a car because it won't be a newer model. I mean, like, probably, because I don't think I can change my thinking around that as quickly as I might need to. But, like, why not? Why not? There are so many different things that could happen. But just based off of what my conscious mind can control and think and plan, it has reached these conclusions. And I am really, really loving this book by Florence Scovel Shinn. Honestly, you don't need the trilogy. It's just The Game of Life and How to Play It. And then Your Word is Your Wand is great. It has so many affirmations in it. I haven't made it to the secret door to success yet. But just The Game of Life and How to Play It has helped me so much to remember that I need to surrender to my faith in myself, in the universe, in infinite intelligence, in God, in the Christ within, however you want to say it. All of those things, that my experience is exactly what I want it to be. And okay, maybe society says that this experience doesn't make sense, but I don't care. It's my experience and I'm going to have it. And if I want these things, I'm going to have them. But it's really just working through that social conditioning, that personal conditioning, all of the mental conditioning that tells you, no, wait, there's obstacles here, or this is going to be difficult, or like, no, you can't really have that thing. I like how my hair just went right back. I shouldn't have touched it. Yeah. Let me get a sip of water. I've been ranting here for a minute. Okay, I do want to come back and just say that physically I'm relatively fine. And all parties involved are relatively fine. We walked away from things. We didn't need EMS. Again, our cars are another matter. I don't know if I already said it, but I just want a disclaimer. fine. It's all going to be fine. But yeah, this is what I'm going through right now, and me asking myself, Alex, why does it have to be worse? Why does it even have to be the same? Why can't things be better for you? Oh, because I don't make as much money as I used to? So, I'm living in more abundance than I ever have, despite making objectively significantly less money. I'm living in more abundance now, just because of my mindset. So why does this situation have to turn out worse? And then I was like, oh, well, you know what? It could turn out better because of XYZ. Stop having reasons. I mean, like, yes, have reasons just to get yourself to the idea that things can work out better for you, but then let go of needing to have those reasons. Like, think of like 2 normal reasons and think of at least one like wild, crazy, insane reason. For example, I could walk through 2 different very normal aspects of the car buying experience where I could say, because I have at this point actually decided that I do believe that this car, our time is up. Because like I said towards the beginning of this video, this car represented a lot for me. And I am at a very new chapter in my life. And one of my friends pointed this out to me. She just intuitively was like, she didn't know any of this, but she's like, I think what this car just really represents, like, where you're at with your self-concept and relationships and everything, and like how you feel supported now. And I was like, bro, I wasn't feeling supported by my car, not as much. It's a whole other tangent. But crazy. And so I think that no matter what happens with my car, if they total it, if they repair it, if they start to repair it and they still total it, if it gets sucked into the ether and into a black hole, never to be seen again, I am still going to look for a new car and remove that one from my experience, no matter what. So it's like I can work through a couple different scenarios of how that happens, like just like what I said. But this thing I was afraid of, losing this car, now I'm like, get it out. I want something new to come in. But I had like a whole mental breakdown. Like I'm more into this car. I grieved the time together and just everything it represented because I have emotional attachment to it. And now I'm like, yay, something new. But like that process had to happen. Don't be hard on yourself. As long as you keep it moving and you don't get stuck and you're not like just repeating a victim story, it's fine to feel things. I had a pity party for a night because it wasn't a pity party. I was getting my feelings out and I was letting myself see it. And you know what? The second that I actually decided to let things move the way they needed to, I felt more of that sadness. I cried more because I let myself let things move. Before I was like trying to keep it together and I was like, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. Once I said, okay, I know how I should be feeling, I know the perspective I should have on this, I actually felt like, more of the negative purged through me. And I just let it go. I just let it go because I knew that I would get over it, but only if I let myself feel it. So anyway, those are just like, so think of 2 normal things, right? So those are my options about like normal ways I could get a new car that's better. Now think of something crazy. And for me, that could be me randomly meeting someone who's like, I have too many cars. Do you want to, like lease my crazy expensive nice vehicle for $10 a month? And I say yes. Like, I don't think that that's really what's going to happen. But it could happen, right? Why not? So just let your brain, I think if you do like the normal reasons and then you give yourself some like crazy outlandish reasons that things could work out better for you, it lets you let go of things. Whereas if you just think of the logical things, you kind of fixate on those and then you want to know the how of how things are going to happen. No. Just know that it's possible. And it could happen in a very normal, expected way, or it could happen in very unexpected ways. And then just surrender and just walk through each day, each hour, each minute. I am super hungry. I'm going to go make lunch, but that's my story. Feel free to subscribe to this channel if you want to follow the saga of what happens with my car. But oh yeah, once I surrendered to that, now I'm really enjoying my rental car. Whereas before, I like literally was blocking myself from enjoying it because I was pouting. Anyway, still wrapping it up. If you guys would like to work one-on-one with me, all that information is down below if you'd like to support this channel. My Patreon starts at just $3, and there's all kinds of bonus content on there, and I go more in depth into my personal stories and sharing, especially around relationships, romantic relationships, and healing codependency, healing my issues, and how that was reflecting in my relationships. As vulnerable as I like to be on this channel, I get way more vulnerable on my Patreon, where I feel a little bit safer behind the wall. So if that's something that interests you, feel free to join me there, and I will see you in the next video.